Hong Kong to appoint an institution for sports arbitration to resolve disputes under a pilot program. A survey by a private company reveals that Hong Kong's business activity for the month of June shrunk to a 3-year low. And SAR students are awestruck by the size of the Shandong aircraft carrier. Good evening, you're watching Cable News. I'm Cheryl Yun. Deputy Justice Secretary Horace Chung said authorities are selecting an arbitration body for a 2-year sports dispute resolution pilot scheme, prioritizing ties to the sports community over arbitration experience alone. Jeremy Zhu reports.
In an exclusive interview with iCable News, Chen revealed the government is calling for proposals at the moment. The future arbitration body will collaborate with sports groups, offering workshops to resolve governance disputes. Arbitrators must be well-versed in sports sector developments. The system will handle commercial and non-commercial disputes, but would not interfere with sports associations' athlete selection, which already follows transparent procedures, or doping and employment cases which are covered by existing laws. Launch is targeted for year-end, starting with local disputes before expanding internationally. Separately, Chen said tax incentives are being considered for law firms to adopt legal technology, as the SAR lacks in tech uptake. While some tools match junior lawyers' capabilities, data and political security remain top concerns. Further industry roundtables will be held, he said. Jeremy Zhu, Cable News.
A gauge measuring the city's business activity fell in June to the lowest level in more than 3 years, as a murky global trade outlook continues to eat into local business sentiment. Bess Leung reports.
The S&P Global Hong Kong Purchasing Managers Index edged down to 47.8 in June, down 1.2 from May, marking the steepest rate of decline since April 2022, and the 5th straight month that the gauge stayed below the 50 mark, separating expansion from contraction. New order inflows across the private sector economy declined for the 5th month during June, as tighter client budgets and U.S. trade policy uncertainty had dampened demand. Moreover, new business from both the mainland and abroad fell at steeper rates than in May, leading to a solid reduction in output, which was the most pronounced for a year. Meanwhile, concerns over the outlook for business activity partly contributed to the caution around staff hiring, while the level of pessimism among businesses was the most prominent since August 2020. Looking ahead, the index compiler said forward-looking indicators, including new orders and future activity indices, have pointed to a deeper contraction over the second half of the year, noting that confidence and demand have to see significant improvements before a recovery can take place. Bess Leung, Cable News.
Over 100 local students and teachers were wowed by the Shandong aircraft carrier as they were invited to board the People's Liberation Army Navy's vessel on its second day in Hong Kong, getting a first-hand look at life aboard and interacting with crew members. Jeremy Zhu has the story.
The visit began with the ship's band performing Ode to the Motherland, a classic patriotic song to welcome the guests. Students explored the flight deck, viewing the carrier's main fighter jets up close. And even trying on crew uniforms. The group also unfurled a massive Chinese national flag. Colonel Yang Yingnan said the tour was carried out with a lot of preparations and aims to help Hong Kong youth appreciate the nation's strength and inspire patriotism. He added that crew members are taking turns visiting the city's landmarks like Tsingsha Choi, West Kowloon, and Causeway Bay during their 5-day stay.
我是一名山东人。
Crew member Gao Yan, a Shandong native serving aboard the namesake carrier, called the Hong Kong visit thrilling. She noticed the ship accommodates female crew with separate living quarters, and she could adapt to the lifestyle very well. Over the upcoming weekend, residents who have made prior reservations would be able to get on board Shandong and 2 other vessels. Jeremy Chu, Cable News.
In a Legislative Council panel meeting on education, lawmakers expressed concern over the declining performance of local students in international assessments. The Education Bureau emphasized the importance of balanced development over focusing solely on rankings. Scarlett Chan reports.
Hong Kong students have maintained high academic standards in several global studies and assessments in recent years, but their mathematics, science, and mother tongue reading skills rank lower than those of neighboring countries and regions. Legislator Regina Ip noted the outperformance of Singaporean students revealed in many global studies, questioning whether Hong Kong pupils should devote more time and efforts on practice questions of specific assessment programs to achieve better results. In response, Education Secretary Christine Choi acknowledged that aiming for top rankings may be good, but the city has prioritized lifelong learning to ensure balanced development of students, fending off the need to exercise on practice questions. Meanwhile, according to 2022 PISA results, Hong Kong students' creative thinking only gained 32 marks, 1 mark lower than the global average. Legislator Lilian Kwok warned that the figure signaled a declining trend, questioning whether visual arts education in schools lacks specialized teaching and suggesting that the EDB systematically strengthened creative training in kindergartens and primary schools. Choi explained that visual arts subjects have relatively fewer class sessions in Hong Kong's curriculum, and some schools may face insufficient teaching time. Choi also countered that students' creativity cannot be judged by a single assessment, adding that the EDB has frameworks in place to nurture pupils' innovative thinking. Chan, Cable News.
The United States Congress narrowly voted in favor of a multi-trillion-dollar tax bill in a hard-fought victory for President Donald Trump's domestic agenda. In a marathon session on Capitol Hill, which lasted over 12 hours, the Republican-controlled U.S. House of Representatives passed the bill by a vote of 218 to 214. Sechin Katvi reports.
On this vote, the yeas are 218, the nays are 214. The motion is adopted.
Hammering the gavel, House Speaker Republican Mike Johnson gave Donald Trump another political victory, which could add $3.3 trillion to the federal deficit over the next decade. Thanking fellow Republicans for their support, Johnson said the Trump administration is fixing public policy since former President Joe Biden left office.
Everything was an absolute disaster under the Biden-Harris radical, woke, progressive Democrat regime. And we took the best effort that we could in one big, beautiful bill to fix as much of it as we could. And I am so grateful to God that we got that done as we did. Because of the dedication, yeah.
Democrats opposed the bill, which proposes massive tax breaks and cuts spending on welfare, especially health care. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries delayed the bill's passage by giving a long speech which ran for 8 hours and 45 minutes.
Not a single thing in Donald Trump's one big, ugly bill will meaningfully make life more affordable for everyday Americans. And that's just one of several reasons why House Democrats are a hell no on this legislation. We were a hell no last week, a hell no this week, a hell no yesterday, a hell no today, and will continue to be a hell no.
Speaking to reporters, Trump said the bill would turn this country into a rocket ship, making it monumental He's expected to sign it into law on America's Independence Day later tonight. Sachin Kadwi, Cable News.
Russia launched one of its biggest strikes on Ukraine's capital Kyiv last night, injuring at least 23 people and damaging buildings. The attack happened just hours after a phone call between U.S. President Donald Trump and his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin, which ended without any progress on achieving a ceasefire deal. The attack on Kyiv yesterday lasted nearly 13 hours, during which Russia fired a record 550 drones and 11 missiles, striking multiple buildings and residential areas across Ukraine's capital. Ukraine intercepted most of the drones, but at least 72 penetrated the country's air defenses. Yuri Ushakov, Putin's foreign affairs advisor, said in the phone call the Russian leader told Trump that Moscow will continue to seek a politically negotiated solution to end the conflict, which has now dragged for more than 3 years. The attacks were the latest in a string of major Russian airstrikes on Ukraine that have intensified in recent weeks as ceasefire talks have largely stalled. Trump said he will be speaking with Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky soon, but was disappointed with his conversation with Putin. Let's take a look at the markets. The Hang Seng Index ended the day down 153 points. Top active stocks of the day, AIA was down $3.20. Alibaba was down $1.10. Meituan was down $2. Tencent was down $4.20. Foreign exchange against the Hong Kong dollar, Euro 9.23, Canadian dollar 5.77. Wage earners in the city who bet their pension funds on equities should see their pension grow by almost 20% over the past 12 months. The professional data by the Mandatory Provident Fund Schemes Authority showed that as of the end of June, equity funds recorded an average net return of 19.3%, while mixed asset funds also posted solid growth, with returns exceeding 10%. These two categories together made up almost 80% of the city's total MPF assets. Meanwhile, the Default Investment Strategies Core Accumulation Fund achieved an average net return of 10.5%, reflecting steady gains for conservative investors. The authority warns against short-term strategies, urging members to align MPF choices with personal risk tolerance and retirement goals. On to the weather now. Mainly fine and very hot during the day. The temperature will range from 28 to 34 degrees. It will become cloudy with a few showers and isolated squally thunderstorms later. That's the news tonight. I'm Cheryl Yun. Thanks for watching and good night.